I think what's beautiful about this story is just like there's always something good that comes out from something bad.
I'm here with Valentin.
Yes.
He is my neighbor, but also Valentin is he's an owner of Oseku Lighting.
Yes, correct.
Which is a lighting company. He's also a filmmaker. And actually, I'm going to have you explain to the audience who you're all about and where you're from.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on this little interview, home interview.
Yeah.
So I've been studying film in France, and I went over to America 2.5 years ago, and I worked as grip, doing grip and lighting work on sets for like now 2.5 years, and I created my business almost a year and a half ago now, Oseku Lighting, which is a lighting rental house based in LA. And it's doing great, so I'm happy of it, and work on set very often, and meet great people, work on cool projects, so like happy, pretty much.
That's great. No, I remember seeing you the first time. You were driving around in an older car. It was a town car.
This is true, a Lincoln Town Car,
Lincoln
94.
Town Car is so gangster. And I remember him pulling up in the driveway and him getting out, and he had just a lot of Kino flows in your back trunk and C-stands, and it just surprised me because I thought I was the only filmmaker in this complex, and to see you coming out with C-stands and Kino flows in an old town car, and you having a French accent, I'm like, this is new.
They're like, who's this guy? Who's this guy?
This is very, very new. But what was cool about it was that, when we started talking, you really knew what you were talking about. It felt like you had a lot of training, a lot of education, but a lot of passion too. And so during the past couple years, actually, I've always bumped into you, here at the complex in Tiara. And I always see you working on building your grip car. If you guys didn't know, he has a Mazda CX-5, and he drilled in the top, a rack on top of the car.
Yeah, it's true. I think, we gotta mention them that probably you were my first client ever. True. Too. I don't know if you remember.
Right. That is right.
Mr. here, Mitchell, had an interview with Kendrick Lamar this day. And he told me, I have a shoot with Kendrick Lamar. Do you have lights around? I see you Kino flow around. So it's like, yeah, man, I just started my business. I can now officially start renting stuff. So that was my first experience. Great experience too. And so I basically have a SUV that I'm kind of building up kind of crazy with speed rail, and I make this roof rack out of speed rail, so which is cool because I can use it as a roof rack or as an operator rack. I can have like someone with a camera or any kind of jib with like a gimbal at the end, and it can be like kind of a equivalent of a Mauritian arm on it. So yeah, that's pretty fun. You can hurt yourself sometimes, it happens, but it's handiwork, it's great, just learning every day.
So what he's talking about right now when he's building out a truck, like his SUV with speed rail, it seriously looks like a car with a metal grid on top, and he did this by himself. Like no one, I saw you working on it by yourself, and you actually also gutted the whole car, and you lined it up with a certain fabric so it doesn't get any scratches. So what I really admired about you, Valentin, is that whenever you are building something, it's almost like you're learning it on the spot, and then it comes out executed well, and it's done right that it's professional, and you're just learning as you go. And I just wanted to know, what was your, I guess, fascination with, I guess, grip and electric and film in general? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, so I studied film, and at first I was DPing and first acing, and it's true that I had by my past, I was photographer in my apartment in Paris and doing like portfolios for actors pretty often with like A7R, Sony, and I just started like this, and I just understood lighting better than filmmaker at this time because stills is more precise in your work, lighting work. And so I was really sensitive to this, like to lighting, and I saw it through like the people I was working with and everything. So I just understood pretty well, like pretty easily lighting. So I was like, yeah, that's a cool thing. Like lighting is fun. I'm on set very often, and I can play with lighting all the time. And so that's why when I try to do something, I try to like always thought in my life that if I do something, then do it, but do it well. You know, like it's always a thing. So that is for my car or for my work. But yeah, definitely trying to work on that. Thank you for the compliment of saying that it looks good.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
I mean, I think
I'm doing yours the next week if you want.
Oh yeah, I know. We're gonna have a what is it called? Like a grip car
Nice.
meetup.
Yeah, exactly.
Is anybody out there?
Sedan,
Exactly. I want it on the side of the car. I want it like a Mad Max car. So if there was a zombie apocalypse, I can kill zombies and light it well.
Sounds good. I'll send you a draw tonight.
With a Russian arm. But no, for a lot of the people out there, you know, because this podcast is about creativity, and there are filmmakers, but there's also a lot of just artists in general. And I think people want to know, you know, the idea of lighting and kind of what the difference is between grip, gaffer, and director of photography and cinematographer. So how would you say would be the difference between those roles? What are they?
Yeah, so it's true that when you step first on set, you're like kind of confused by everything's going on. You're like, who's exactly doing what and who should do exactly what exactly they should do. Like it's so confusing at first. But yeah, I think mainly director is the king, and then he has to give direction to any type of department, and the leader of the technical department is the director of photography, DP. That's gonna manage 3 type of crew. Usually it's the lighting crew, the grip crew, and the camera crew. These are the 3 department is gonna lead. And on this lighting crew, you have the gaffer, which is gonna be mainly working on the lights and the headlights, especially in the power distribution. And he's gonna have his workers on this department that are electrics. We will call them best boy or electric, whatever. And we have also on another side we have the key grip, which is the key grip is for the grip department. He's gonna manage like any type of rigging on like any type of car or location or dolly motion and everything. He's gonna give direction to all these people are like gonna build like also rags, like frames and everything. So it's all the work outside of the light. So it's like the treatment of the light, which is diffusion or blacking out, all these things, and also safety requirements on set that they're gonna be responsible for. And on the other side, there's also the camera side, which is like first like camera operator if there is, or Steadicam, or like first and second AC, third AC, or any type of stuff, and DIT I guess too. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works. So that's
nice.
that's just take a little bit of practice and you can understand it pretty well.
Yeah, that's Film School 101 for a lot of people out there. And it was great for you to break that down because in this day and age of digital videography, people usually think as a video creator as a one-person show. And so they don't realize that on bigger productions, you have different categories and departments and teams and crews to complete a shot or to execute a shot. And I always feel that now with these new cameras out, like you said, the Sony A7R, it's made it really easier for people to become filmmakers. So my question to you, how do you feel about technology now when it comes to lighting and filmmaking? Do you feel like you want to keep it old school, like this light over here with HMIs and tungsten, or do you like these new lights where it's LED, light mats and Kino flows and Asteras and all of that? Like, what are your thoughts about the technology of filmmaking now?
Yeah, I think it went up crazy in the past 5 years, I would say. LED started like 10 years ago now, and like now they're like recognized as great lights by experts in director of photography. So I think it enable like to have better quality content with less time and less manpower. LED is doing this nowadays, definitely. It's great. I have mainly LED lights. I have LED and tungsten as well, but like I do mainly my work with LED lights. I think it gives a lot of more options and creativity. Like you can, in a smaller amount of time, you can definitely get more creative stuff. I think in color or like lighting design in the background too, with like all these light tubes controlled wireless, it's very easy to work. I wouldn't say that it's easier, because there's also like a lot of thing to know about how to use the applications, how to use the softwares like of any type of lights. It's also like another type of, we kind of become like board controller, like we kind of like has like this formation at some point, like but yeah, definitely it's great. I think I'm happy I landed in the decade where everything comes out like easier, and I can have more creativity with it.
Yeah, because back in the day when you were dealing with the lights on film crew on film productions, you had to worry about heat. You're gonna have to worry about the heaviness of these lights, and they're just you also have to have them plugged into their own individual circuits, because then all of a sudden they might blow a breaker. Like with LEDs, it's just a little bit easier. You can battery power them, you can control them with your iPad, you can bring them out. They don't suck up too much energy. So it kind of makes filmmaking and lighting a little better. But do you feel like there's a look in the old school lighting, the tungsten and the HMIs, that you can't achieve with LEDs? Or do you feel like the LEDs now have achieved that and you're able to create that new that old school type of look? Or what are your thoughts between the two types of looks, tungsten, HMI, and then LEDs?
So I think it is possible to recreate the same thing with the two type of lights, or like really like close, if it's not a little bit different. The only thing is that LEDs are more known as being soft sources, and tungsten more as hard sources. So if you have like a tungsten light that is pretty hard, you have to diffuse it, but it's basically what does a LED light with like a diffusion box. So yeah, definitely. I think what's beautiful with tungsten is that the color, the colors are good. They're very accurate, and LEDs are still like a work with. They're just still working on giving the best of like what they can give on color. Or I don't know how to explain that in English, but I would say like just the color is just not exactly the same. Sometimes there's like tint of like green or magenta that can comes out on the face, or but cameras are going even better. So like if cameras are getting better and they're like give a better color look, LEDs are like less seen as bad, and I think it's really was a lot more work to work with tungsten. So like that is in budget, time, manpower, equipment, generators, and all this stuff that I guess it's better right now to be working on the LED. Even sometimes if anybody asks me for work on tungsten, I would do it too. It's fun. It's fun.
Now, for you, when you are lighting a set, or when you were a DP, or when you are hired as a DP, and you have to light something, what is your process? Of course, you're going to talk to the director, and then the director would tell you kind of like their thoughts. But what is your process when you're creating these lights? And like, how do you determine how to create that look? Do you find inspiration in the mood board that was created beforehand? Reference videos? Do you just do it from freestyling it on set? Like, what's your process when you're lighting?
Yeah. So it's true that anytime you work on a project, it's good to know what is gonna be the mood, or like what is gonna be the script, what is the story about, if it's a narrative. Most of the time I do commercial, fashion, and like music videos, but I also do sometimes narrative. It's true that if you step on set, DP's director wants to shoot a scene, and you have an idea of what exactly are going to be the shot lists. This is interesting. This is like a first start, like to know exactly what are going to be the shot list, how wide you're going to be, and how many shots there are going to be, angles. It's important for lighting. I think the first thing that I ask to DP when to a director, as a gaffer, if you want me as a director of photography, I guess as the director of photography.
Yeah, as a DP,
yeah, as a director of photography, I come to the director, and I want to make sure that he's like knows where his talent are gonna be and where camera is gonna be. It's what's gonna lead the whole thing. it's always good to remind this to remind the whole crew where talent are gonna be, where camera is gonna be, so you have an angle, and then once you have this, you know what kind of lens you're gonna use, so you know how you can be able to light technically, like far or close, if you can have or if it's gonna be a wide shot and you can't be close to talent with your lights or anything like that. So I guess as a DP, I've been working DP like now a while ago, so I don't have much of a souvenir, but I think exactly like it would be most of the time the words that comes out from directors like moody, contrasty, or soft, or like I would say commercially, if it's like really like beauty, like we would like use all these words, I guess, and yeah, just play with like basically one key light, trying to have like a contrast at first on the other side of the camera, or like a 100 degree like difference of an angle, and then I would have another fill light, same thing on usually LED lights, like to keep it like on a dimmer. So if director is not happy with the contrast and he wants something more contrasty, I can just dim down the light, and all of a sudden like contrast appears on the face of talent. That's what I usually do. And yeah, usually you play also with the color palette, with like a cold or warm environment, or like a green, like weird look of a like
Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. You can play with like tons of different color that is in the hard department or lighting wise too. So that's how we play with this. We play with like contrast and color temperatures, I would say.
Nice. So then how did you get into that? Like how were you able to figure out your lighting? Because you said that you started off as a photographer first, and then you said that you were better than most filmmakers at lighting. And what was it about lighting, and how did you learn about lighting to get that confidence?
So I mean, I hope it's not looking too cocky to
No.
do this, but it's true that at the time in my film school, we just started having lighting courses and classes, lighting classes with DPs, and I was doing already it at my place. So I came with like a little bit of forward compared to the other people. There were great elements. We were like having good school and great elements in our school. Definitely, I was not the only one for sure. And but yeah, definitely started by knowing what is how like light reacts on a face according to their skin, to their facial relief. This is definitely something that is to take in count. But mostly it's how light can be diffused according to the size of the source and the distance between the talent and the source, and also how light can be also absorbed. Like light can also be like, I use it like a sponge type of idea. It's just that light with like a black rag, you can like accentuate the contrast because light doesn't get bounced, so it's really like absorbed. And that's very interesting how to, when you understand lighting, you have a step at some point that you're like, wow, now I understand how lighting reacts in an environment, how it's like bounced all over, and how it can be just absorbed. And that's a thing that I understood as doing photography, because when you take picture with talent, it's like one and you take a picture each time, and you see the lighting difference very well between one stills to another, which is hard to see in like video, because you have angles, you have a camera motion, and lighting is less precise than photography. So yeah, I would say it's what like photo gave me the confidence of working in lighting in film, and then come here. I did a year of a lot of shoot. I did like 300 shoots in a year here.
Wow.
As an intern, so it was great. I just like discovered a lot of stuff too. How like everybody has his way of working too, and yeah, this gave me also the confidence of like, yeah, now I gotta find a visa situation, and I'm gonna create my lighting company, and I'll work for that, because I feel like I don't have a talent on it, but I think I'm good at it, and I can make it work for now, at least.
I love that, because it just sounds like you really learned the fundamentals, and then you just practiced. You did a lot of practice. I mean, you were on 300 shoots, and you even did your own photography. And so that's great that you were able to actually take what you learned and applied it, and now you have your own company around it, which is pretty amazing. So when you do go on set, all these sets and everything, and you're working with different directors and crews or whatnot. What kind of sets do you like to work on? Do you like sets that are fluid and open? Do you like sets that are on time, on schedule? Like, what do you feel like is the best set when it comes to creative workflow and for efficiency, but you also have a lot of creativity?
Yeah. I mean, in my mind now that I think about this, I think there's like two sets I really loved. There's a production company called Yours Truly Creative in LA that are like amazing. They do an amazing job. We did a commercial for Spotify with Joji, an artist, and it was all about our artistic thing. It was really like 2 days of stage with like weird like the art department work, a lot of time to set up and do like really. The DP made his own lenses as well.
Own lenses.
So he made it himself, and it's from New York, and it's really like all about the artistic. So I really love this kind of impact, like having something that is not about just healthcare or know like any type of commercial stuff, or like I do a lot of cosmetic. It's great, but it's just like feel like I want to do something more too. I don't know if I really want to go narrative too as well, but it's true that these sets are great for this artistic point of view, and when there is budget and knowledge and it is artistic, it's like you feel like you're on the top of the top. It's great, and yeah. Otherwise, I also work with some people or like smaller projects, smaller production company that do great. Like I've just worked Sunday on a music video with this production company. Just didn't start that long ago. It's a friend of mine that did his film school in North Carolina, and they moved here like 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. And they started their business, their production company, and they have like small budget, and but they really insist and listen to me about what the budget needs to be put on. So like lighting budget can be like not too big, and but at least the manpower is there. I can have 4 workers for like a smaller list, and we can move on pretty fast and have like enough time to reset things, try new things, and see what we like and what we don't. And there's a lot of listening, a lot of awareness of sets, what's going on right now, what shot are we moving forward to. And having like an ETA, a schedule that is on point. And this is like for such small project of like 12 people on set. That's great to see how much they can manage greatly, like their set. Like that's the kind of shoot I love to be like understanding.
I like that. So you like the very artistic sets where there is a lot of freedom. There's a lot of time to set up. You can get weird. And you have a very relaxed set compared to very, I would say, on the schedule and stressful sets. But you also like it when your team is small and scrappy and can get the job done, even though it's a low budget. At least you have the manpower and you can get it executed.
Yep.
And so, do you feel there's a difference between American video making and filmmaking, and then of course what you were experiencing in France? When you were working a lot in France before you came here. Like, what do you see as like the difference between sets, and also what are the similarities?
So I think the American and French culture are fundamentally different. So it's true that most of what I experienced in French set is like a lot of trying to be artistic as much as possible and try to like narratively like express as much as emotion as possible. It's really like straightforward, very fast, and really like about social topics. It's more than any type of action movies or stuff like that. So I guess like this is something to mention. But you mean technically or artistically?
I think both. I think that technically, artistically, and actually how do they get into their creative workflow? Like, is it something like you said, very artistic, where you have a script, you have a shot list, you show up on set, and there's more freedom to be creative, or is it more regimented, like here in the States, where it's like you have an AD that makes sure that everything gets shot on time?
I think any production is different, but overall, I would say that. If I had to compare French and American, I think French would have more like freedom about doing things, because like if like a director had another idea and like forward it to DP, and DP were like, okay, let's do it, and then I feel like it would be easier in France to make something like a move like this than in America, because in America budgets are bigger. Yeah, so I was thinking that there's like two difference, like the artistic and technical difference between the two countries. I would say that in America there's more budget, more people working on set. Every work is separate and sectioned, so like everybody has his job to do, and it's like how this big machine works, because like it's a very different budget, like scale in France and America. So this is a technical thing. I would say like technically more people working, so more square in what you have to do and what you don't have to do and what other people has to do, which is probably in France different. Like in France, I guess everybody kind of do whatever they can do and like can help out and stuff like that. I think it's like every production is different, but I would say that mainly it's like more square. I think there's less artistic move possible on an American set, because it's a business, it's an industry. It goes like it's been like everything has been validated by producer and production above and everything. So you have to like follow the path, and that's bigger. That has bigger like impact on the story. So I guess artistic move are like less seen as good as in France, where France is like more oriented towards like social topics most of the time, less than like American action movies like that can be compared to. I think yes, social and all about the emotion, straightforward stories that are like really about human feelings and emotions. I think it's more about this in our artistic way in France. And yeah, that's probably what like enable people to work more like on the technical side, to be like more up to do artistic things, even if like of course like there's like amazing artistic work in America, and there's like can't say no about this, but yeah, I think yeah, the scales are different. So like of course artistic and technical things are also scaled like differently too, I would say.
Nice. No, I can see that, by the way. I can see that, the difference with films. And, in America, it's Hollywood, we're used to the whole idea of, time is money, and then making sure that the money is spent well, and then trying to get as much done as little budget as possible sometimes, or having a big budget and trying to milk it as much as possible, or milk it as much so you can pay your above the line a lot of money.
Yeah, true.
But I was gonna ask you, when you do go on set and when you do create, and actually also when you are creating these racks and you're building and you're just doing things for your company, like how do you get into your creative state? Do you turn on music? Do you drink wine? Do you listen to, I don't know, any like inspirational speakers? Like, how do you get into your creative workflow when you get onto set, when you're DPing, when you are building something for your company?
Yeah, so if I can maybe make two words for this, like the world of my home and work of my company, and then the work on set, which is different. Yeah, if I'm going on set, of course, try to get as much information about script and everything, and having the DP at the phone and everything. As a gaffer and business owner, I have to make sure first technically everything is here. Like everything is like included, and all the package is ready to go. Everything is in the list, so everybody's happy. There's nothing that has to be changed, and that I have all my workers for the job too. But yeah, I think if I'm going on set, I usually bring like some music. I bring like a speaker, and I just put a little bit of music. Not crazy. I don't try to stress people out. Like I just try to make everybody in the comfortable mood. Not try to bring in too loud too. But it's like that is for setup or rap out. I also put some music where we never know. Always come out to people like. Just like no tension. The best is like never like stress is a terrible thing that can be spread like a disease. Definitely, like everybody's can excel it, and that it can be brought to everybody. So I don't like working stress for sure. probably like everybody, but some people we can wonder sometimes if they do. But yeah, so my workflow, I think, yeah, it's just basically I try to first when I got on set is like I asked my DP, the person that's gonna give me the instructions, where is camera, where is talent, and how wide it is, or like the lens. Sometimes he can give me, so this way I can have an idea of like what game are we playing, and then so like how far I can be from talent, light can I use, and of course like what is the mood, and so he give. Sometimes DPs are gonna ask me to light it for them. Sometimes they're gonna be very picky about which unit I gotta use of lights, and like sometimes all the settings, everything, and I'm just doing what they want them for me to do, and yeah. So this is like a more on set thing. I think. I also try to be a very close to location person. They help us for like any type of shoot we're in, for like any type of power situation or a parking situation, and loading, and everything. It's also good to know them, everybody anyway. But definitely director and AD. It's always good to be close to director and DP, and has been like from this trio like of people. If you're close to them, you can really confirm from the DP what the DP is saying is on the same page as the director or the AD, and sometimes things are like a bit confused, so it's always good to recap the three of them with you, so you're sure not working for nothing and just like losing time. And yeah, but at my place on this case, I'm just yeah, I love cooking, I love wine, so definitely sometimes I work and I drink, and as you can see, and it's true, like music is constantly here too. I do most of my project by myself. I look up online on YouTube most of the time how it is to like buy a welder and start welding and stuff like that, for example. And so you just like little by little build your little work environment. And definitely fun to try. Like the goal of all this is to try like something you never been comfortable with, you never tried. And with a little bit of time, you just put effort into it, and then you get information from most of people like you met around you that can help you to buy the good equipment and everything. And so yeah, that's how I think I love learning every day, and especially from my hands, from my like mind and hands, like just doing things is a great thing. Brings me a lot of happiness. So yeah, definitely. If I can advise anybody, I would say just go on YouTube, find stuff that you like, and if you have any question about like homemaking or how to make a roof rack on your car or stuff like that, they feel free to call me or whatever if they need any answer or whatever. I think about making a video too, but like it's gonna take me so much time, you know.
Yeah. And plus, you don't want to injure yourself. You know, Valentine just told me a story about he was drilling something, and then the drill bit broke off, and then he ended up drilling a hole in his hand, then passed out on the floor. His roommate had to call the ambulance. Oh no, an Uber to take you to the ER. And
yeah, no fun.
So this is not all fun and games. You gotta be careful. So be careful out there. Wear gloves, but it's okay. Gloves. You know, it happens when you take risks. But you know, before we go, I also wanted to know, Valentine. So why film? You know, why videos? Why commercials? What got you into this? Like, why are you pursuing this as a career path?
I think that's a good question. I think it's very personal. I can tell you, it's just like when I was younger. I remember my brother always looked at movie a lot. He was watching a lot of movie, and he had a huge illegal downloaded movie list.
Yes.
Shh, don't say about it. But I was not responsible. It's my brother, and so I was watching it, and I loved it. I was watching movies and stuff, and to be honest, I was a bit lonely. My family was not home often, so I was watching movie most of the time. You know, trying to like entertain myself. And I was really after my first broke up with a girl that I was really in love with a lot. She broke up with me, and I remember this summer I was pretty sad and alone, so nobody home and everything, and I was really unhappy. So I spent most of my days watching movies, like 2-3 a day, and like big American classic movies, which is crazy. And now when I take a step back, but that's how it started. I just learning, like, watch more and more movies, and it became the field I was the more comfortable with speaking about and everything. And So I was like at the end of my high school, and I was like, well, I think I want to do a movie. I don't know what else I would do. I wanted to direct and do lighting or like camera work, being on a technical crew, and so I did my film school in France. Graduated there, and then did an internship of a year here, and then I created my company here, and then now I'm like on the big stuff. So that's cool. I mean, not a big stuff, but I'm just like doing it in California, so that's great.
It's amazing. No, I like that story because it's movies were your friend, your companion. It kept you.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was there when you were lonely or heartbroken, and it helped you through emotional tough times.
Yeah, I think what's great is that they can make you travel, even if you're in the same place and you're by yourself. They can like make you travel around the world. You feel like you almost know the world, but you don't. But I think what's beautiful about this story is just like there's always something good that comes out from something bad, I would say. And it's probably, I don't know what I would do if I was not in a movie right now, but I can say that I'm happy. So maybe it's something going good about something bad.
I love that. Yeah, because I feel the same way about movies. I think movies, I got into it because my parents used to take me and my brothers to the video store to get some tapes so we can watch it as a family. So I always equate movies and films with family and
Nice.
community and togetherness, because that's what it does.
Yeah.
You can either be with your family, with your friends, or you can be alone and you can just feel together with the characters on the screen. You feel like you get to know the person on the screen, you become friends with them, you feel with them, you go on journeys with them, and then you find yourself at the end resolving whatever problem it was for them, and either having victory or experiencing failure, depending on the type of film that you watch.
Yeah, I think that's true. That I think a good movie is a movie that's gonna make you travel. Like, you're gonna become changed at the end of the movie, and that's what, like, even if the topic is not the thing that you would like think at first, and that it just help you like to see things differently in life. And I think it's true that it's also like sometimes I feel like we're not aware about our chance of being like alive and in good health and overall free to do whatever we want, when like some other countries are not able, like people are not free to do whatever they want and stuff like that. So movies sometimes can put you in a state of awareness of like, wow, I'm actually like, people really went through like hard things in life, or like documentaries, and you're like, wow, it can also help you to take a step back and be like, wow, that's actually amazing. I'm very happy with my life right now, and I have to be grateful for it too. Yeah.
Love that. Well, Valentin, thank you so much. That was such a great interview. And before we go, let the people know about Oseku Lighting, and also where they can find you online.
Yeah, so I have an Instagram account, Oseku Lighting Inc.
How do you spell that, by the way?
Oseku Lighting. So yeah, it's brand new. I mean, I started a year and a half ago. All my equipment is new. Taking care of crazy. Probably one of the only rental house of LA that has that great quality like equipment, like good shape equipment, and good accessories. So yeah, let me know. I only have an Instagram account. I think I don't have a Facebook account, but let me know. You have my website, osekulightinginc.com. You'll see it online too. There's all my products and everything if you need any services for your productions. But maybe I'll see you around.
Yeah, and if you all need a gaffer, DP, or overall good cook and chef and friend, you just hit them up, because we're having beautiful wine and food over here at Tiara.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can also swing by my place, and we can have some good fun too, without pressure.
Well, cheers.
Cheers on that note.
Thank you, merci.
Thank you for listening to the Creative Haven podcast. And if you dig it and like what you heard today, please give us a nice review and rating, and share it with one of your friends that you think needs some creative inspiration. You can always find more content and resources at thecreativehaven.com, and hit me up on Instagram at Mitchel Dumlao. And if you want to reach out, collab, or ask any questions, you have my permission to slide into my DMs. So keep positive, continue to learn and hone your craft, and create all day. Salamat.